go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody to this webinar on the demo loan community of practice. As we were thinking about looking at options for states for things like device loan programs, tablet loan programs, and some of the other issues that you're working on right now through the COVID situation, we thought that we'd have a presentation by Teltex. And Teltex just as one option that states might want to consider in terms of some of the things they're working with. Teltex, as I'm sure a lot of you know, works with several state AT programs, with iPad loans, also with their adapted telephone programs, or with their I Can Connect programs. And we asked them just to come in and see if they would present an overview of what they do in terms of their services, who they do it for, and also to give an overview of their Smart Home Solutions program. So if you need closed captioning, just hit the closed captioning button at the bottom of your screen. And with that, I think I'll go ahead and turn it over to Andrew Bond. Andrew Bond is the president of Teltex.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Marty, for that introduction. Really appreciate it. Also appreciate this opportunity to talk to all of you guys today. Wanted to give you guys a presentation of, like Marty indicated, the iPad loan program that we currently offer, as well as our smart home solutions. And Danny Cunningham, my smart home coordinator, is joining us today as well. He's kind of our lead guy when it comes to the smart home initiative. And I'm going to do a presentation about the loaner program first, and then Danny will jump in and conclude with some information about the smart home. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to remove my bobblehead here from the video and go straight into the actual PowerPoint, and we'll just address each one. If you guys have any questions during the presentation, you can either go ahead and type those in if you want, and those questions will be asked. If we have enough time, we can address a lot of them. If they're very specific to your state program, we might want to have those addressed offline. You can contact us with the contact information that we'll have at the end of the session. Okay, so Danny, I'm going to go ahead and just take my video out real quick. And then if you can start the presentation. Okay, so like I mentioned, the first thing we're going to discuss today is just the iPad lending library. And we're going to be very focused on Apple products for right now, but I wanted to make sure I let you guys know right from the get-go that if there are some programs out there that have Android devices as well, that we are able to incorporate those into what we do and what we offer. So just be aware of that. Okay, Dana. So just to give you guys a bit of history of who we are, if you're not familiar with us, we were founded in '94 and incorporated in '97. We're located in Kearney, Missouri, which is a little farm town out in the middle of nowhere, which is about 20 miles out of Kansas City. So just to give you a reference. What's nice about that is we're centrally located, so we're right in the middle of the country, and so it really has helped us over the years working with entities from the East Coast all the way over to the West Coast, North and South. Some of the programs and entities that we work with, like Marty mentioned, our primary focus is working with federal and state government entities, AT programs, TED programs, which are telecommunications equipment distribution programs, vocational rehab, and many others. But that's our focus. We do have a dealer network out there that we work with, and we do work with a lot of individuals, but our primary focus is working with government agencies. Some of the things that kind of make us unique here is we're not just a sales department. We have customer service. We have a full technical department. We're now getting into engineering and software design as more and more of the products we work with become more technical compared to what it was like, back in the 90s when we were just doing TTY repairs. We've come a long way since then. And again, we carry a large inventory of equipment, from telecommunications, assistive living, Braille equipment now as we're working with more of the National Deafblind programs, tablets, smartphones, specialty mounts for our mobility clients, sensors, monitoring, and smart home technology, as we've now expanded into that as well. So that's just a quick overview of who we are. Let me jump straight into the next slide where we actually start talking about the iPad lending library, which we're hoping a lot of you are potentially looking at, possibly at least looking at options for your programs that we might be able to assist you with. I think we work with about 3 or 4 programs currently, and the programs that we are working with, seems to be working extremely well for them. So as you can see on the slide, we talk about purchasing, warehousing, asset management, warranty, customizing, device configuration, packaging, and shipping. And at the bottom there, where one of the things that's important for you to know right from the get-go is for a lot of these features to be available, we do require initially that the equipment that is part of this program be purchased from Teltex. But we do also understand that you've got existing inventory that is not part of what we're doing. And so we have the capability of bringing that inventory on board as well, so that you're not, if you've just bought inventory 6 months ago, you're not having to scrap all that to figure out how to incorporate it into this program. But going forward, as you are purchasing new equipment and adding and expanding the program, part of the requirement is to get that equipment from us, mainly because, as I'll explain later, we purchase these devices directly from Apple and have them set up in what's called DEP, so we can manage these. So it's not just that we're putting it into our MDM, but it's actually part of the DEP program from Apple as well, which gives us a little bit more control and allows us to do a little bit more with the devices as far as keeping track of them for the programs. So I'll stay on that slide, but I'll address each one of these very quickly. Obviously, purchasing, we are an authorized Apple government contractor, and we have been set up as a strategic partner with Apple to focus on working in the government channel with different disability programs. We have access to all of Apple's products, so not just iPads, but all their iPhones, their iPods, the Apple Watch, and all of the Mac devices as well. So we purchased quite a few of those for some of our other programs out there, like the deafblind programs. Warehousing, again, we're centrally located here in Kansas, in the Kansas City area. So all of the equipment that we currently have in the lending libraries are warehoused here in our secure facility, climate controlled, very limited access to these devices from internal staff, et cetera, et cetera. Asset management, this is a big one. One of the things that we started doing many, many years ago when we first started offering devices to state programs was to, a lot of programs tag their equipment so that they know the equipment belongs to a specific state, entity, or program. A lot of those tags are just sometimes stickers that can be removed. So we, probably 7 or 8 years ago, started investing in these high-tech laser machines so that we can actually laser etch the actual equipment. And so we customize that etching specific to each program. So we can put stuff like your logos, letterheads, information as far as asset numbers. For many of our programs, we put stuff like not for resale, or property of. And because it's laser etched onto the device, the only way that it can be removed, obviously, is if you dip it in an acid bath or take some kind of file or sandpaper to the device, which obviously shows that something has been tried to remove. So we laser etch the device, and then more recently what we've started doing is also laser etching the OtterBox, which is the protective case that we put on these devices. Now, part of the reason we laser etch the OtterBoxes, especially for our loaner programs, is for quick identification, not only for the person who's getting the loan to identify that this is an iPad that they've loaned from a specific entity. It also is a quick identification for a pawn shop or someone who's buying this thing online if the individual is trying to sell this. And then, of course, it helps us very quickly when the equipment comes back from a program to identify what program it came from, what the asset number is, so we can look up that work order and figure out who had the loan, and then update the information in the system for that state program. So the asset management is very important for us to be able to keep track of you guys' equipment. The warranty aspect of this is also very important. So we were talking about all new purchases that are added to the lending libraries that are managed by us. When you purchase that from us, we automatically cover the equipment for 3 years. And we cover it with what's called Teltex Care Plus. This is something we've had in place now for about 8 years with all of our state programs. It's basically a bumper-to-bumper coverage. It takes care of a variety of different things, from accidental damage, screens being broken. I'm trying to think here real quick. I've got a list. I'll cover the list in a minute of all the things that it covers. But basically, essentially, it's covering the device from bumper to bumper for any kind of damage that might happen while the device is out being loaned. 100% of all of the service that is done to these devices is all done in-house. We don't ship any of this equipment out to anybody. We don't even ship it to Apple. We take care of it all here internally. We have our own service department, and we have access to everything else. So that's kind of an important thing, so that you know that this equipment's not floating around all over the place, getting touched by multiple entities. It's pretty much us, and that's it. Again, as far as the what's covered with the warranty and what's not, the anything electronic is covered. Software failures, charging ports, cameras, switches, home buttons, Wi-Fi control modules, cellular modules, speakers, microphones. I mean, pretty much everything you can think of on the device is covered by this warranty. Again, accidental screens being broken and damaged are covered, batteries. We even cover the peripheral stuff like the charging cables and power supplies if they are defective. Now, what's not covered is obviously something that might be lost or stolen. Then the equipment is just gone. And if any of the peripheral stuff is missing, like the OtterBox cases, power supplies, or lightning cables, none of that stuff is covered if it's just missing. And then lastly, and this is kind of a big one, we don't see it very much on the loaner programs, but we see a lot of it on our regular TED programs, where the devices are actually damaged on purpose. They're intentionally damaged. We've had units broken in half. We've had units that you can tell someone's taken a hammer to them, et cetera, and we evaluate each one of those as they would come back. So for the most part, especially our loaner programs, they're in pretty good shape, but that coverage is there if you need it. Customizing and device configuration. Again, this is where we take this equipment, we put it into our MDM server here, and that MDM server allows us to do many things to the device. Most of you if not all of you are familiar with the MDM, you probably have it in your own MDMs at your office. But it allows us to track and locate the device, to customize it, allows us to add and remove apps from the app store, from the app packages that you guys might have with us. We can send messages to the device, send updates of software, push new apps directly to the device, and also allows us to do some remote diagnostics and stuff like that when it comes to the service department side. Device configuration, again, this is where we would set these devices up for you. You tell us what the individual is looking for as far as apps to be pre-installed onto the device before it's sent out to them. We maintain your app catalog here. So at any given point, you can reach out to us, and if you need to know what you have available in your app catalog, we maintain that and keep it here for you guys. It's very helpful, we've noticed with some of our programs, for them to know or be able to reach out to us very quickly and say, do we have this app available in our app catalog? And we can look that up and let you know pretty quick. One of the things I want you to be aware of when it comes to apps, you know, most of you should have some type of app catalog already established, and we would just basically take that over for you here. As you get requests for loans with specific apps that you may not have in your app catalog, obviously if it's an app that's being requested that's a free app, those are pretty much a no-brainer because there's no cost associated to it. So we would just download that app and put it into your app catalog and have it available for use anytime you need it, for a loan. If there's a cost associated to it, whether it's, you know, a $1 for the app or $500 for the app, we would simply just have you guys request that app from us. We would send you a quote so that you could approve it. What's nice about what we do with apps is that pretty much what you see in the App Store is what your cost is, except it might be off 1 penny. It drives me nuts with all the 99-cent and the $4.99 and $2.99. So we do mark it up 1 penny to make it a little bit simpler for the accounting department. So if there's an app that you're looking for and it's $9.99, you're going to request that app from us. We'll send you a quote for approval. The quote is probably going to be for $10. Once you approve and you let us know how you wish to pay for the app, and we have a variety of ways for you to do that, we would then go in, purchase the app for you, and add it to your lending library. So it's a fairly simple process. Packaging and shipping, that's kind of self-explanatory. We take these devices, some of our programs have these high-end Pelican cases that they like to use. We would continue to use those if you have them and provide them to us to ship the devices out. Many of you don't have those. We have our own custom shipping box that we put these in that have a special foam insert to protect the device while shipping. And in that box, we include obviously the charging block, the cable, the device itself, a stylus and a car charger, just so that there's a variety of ways to keep the device charged and being used. We also include any kind of packing material or documentation that you require to be in the box. So when the client gets it and they open it up, there might be a, you know, what's in the box type flyer, so they know that there's I'm hoping everybody can hear me. Sorry, I just saw a dialog box that says that they can't hear, so I'm hoping everybody can hear me. We can include any kind of documentation that your program requires the consumer to see. So if there's some kind of loan agreement that that they need to have, or if there's any specific documentation that you want them to be aware of, like, you know, who to contact if there's an issue with the loan, if they need an extension on the loan, et cetera, we would include that in your devices going out to the client. So again, the shipping component is fairly simple. One, we do use UPS, that is our carrier of choice, and we ship these devices out insured and signature required, so that there's these are very expensive units. We don't want them just being left at on somebody's deck or on their driveway or whatever. So we do normally require them to be signed for. That is a choice up to the program, but we highly recommend that that these devices are insured and a signature is required to get the device. Just see if there's any other. So one of the components of this that you do need to be aware of with us doing these services, the one component of this that does have a reoccurring cost every single time is the shipping cost. And you do need to be aware that that is a billable item. So we have a couple of options when it comes to shipping. We have some of our programs that have been able to provide us with their UPS account number. I know many of you may not be able to do that, but some of you are. And that makes it very, very simple, because then for all the shipping and whether it's outbound or inbound, we can get that, we can just put it straight on your account and you get complete access to that bill. So you can actually see where it was sent to, you can see where it came back from, you can match it all up. For those programs that don't have that capability, we would just use our account and we would send you an itemized bill every month that shows tracking information, customer, device, et cetera, so you can match it all on your end. When the equipment is assigned to come back, we would issue a UPS call tag, which sends the driver out to actually physically pick the device up and bring it back to your inventory. Okay, let's jump to the next slide real quick. Sorry, guys, I know we're limited on time here. So I'm going to go through this process very quickly. I know the slide is extremely small and hard to read, but I just wanted you to have a rough idea of what the process looks like. So you can see just how simple it is, and how it doesn't require much changes on your part to be able to incorporate your equipment into this program. You know, obviously, you guys are the experts out in the field, determining who gets the loans, what type of stuff they're looking for. Our role in this whole thing is just to work in the background to provide you guys the different services that we offer and the support on this. So the concept is that you keep the process that you currently have in place to get the loan processed, who's going to get the equipment, what apps they need on the devices, and how long the loan is for. So nothing changes there. You would still continue with that. The next steps are where we get involved. You would send us an approval notice or a loan agreement, whatever you want to set up on your end. We don't care. That and that just gets emailed to us, and we would then go to your inventory, pull that device, set it all up for that specific client. Our turnaround time is 24 hours, so within 24 hours, excluding weekends and holidays. And then we would ship that device directly to the client for the loan, including all the stuff that we talked about. It would be, again, shipped UPS, insured, signature required. We'd include whatever documentation you need in the box. on the loan agreement, it would indicate when you want this device to come back or how long this individual has the loan for. We have a system set up here where every day we get notifications of devices that need to be picked back up, and we basically issue call tags from UPS to go get these devices and bring them back. Once the device is received back at Teltex, the program is notified that it is back here in your inventory at Teltex. The device then is electronically wiped. Basically, it's reset to factory. All of the previous client's information is removed. Anything that they may have done to the unit, as far as if they took photos or any personal data, is completely removed from the device. The device then is also, and this is kind of very, very important for where we are today, unfortunately, with this coronavirus pandemic. We have a two-phase or two-step decontamination and sterilization process that we go through, where the devices are first placed in what we have called a UV chamber or UV cabinet. So the devices are exposed to the ultraviolet light, and then the second stage is that they're wiped down with an alcohol solution to sterilize the device so that it can be reused for the next client. We also make sure it's running the most current operating system, and all of the additional peripherals like charging cables and stuff like that are checked out. If they're all in good shape, then it's kept together. If there's something missing, if it's defective, we replace it. If it's missing, we would contact the program, let you guys know so that you could make a decision to order replacements for that particular unit. So as you can see, the process is probably very similar to what you already have at your office, except we're handling it off-site. The next slide. Sorry guys, I'm going to go through this really quick, so I know we're short on time. So why is this program being successful? Why is it something that we hope you could consider doing? Well, the return on investment, keeping the equipment maintained, working out in the field, not sitting on a desk somewhere, is important. The fact that it's got 3 years of maintenance coverage for any types of return, any type of repairs. We think that's a very important thing, and that allows, again, for that initial investment to speak for itself. It allows for the program growth and expansion. Again, you guys are the experts as far as finding the clients that need this equipment and needs the loans. By having something centrally located and having potentially a third party handle this for you, it has the capability of you guys to really expand your programs. That's one of the feedbacks we've gotten from some of the programs we currently work with, is that it's allowed them to really expand across a wider area of the state, because they're not limited now to a specific office or a location. It's because everything's being shipped and picked up. It really does offer for you to grow the program as big as you want. We've got thousands and thousands of devices out in the field right now for a variety of different state programs. So there's really no limit on the number of units that we can handle here. It's just a matter of how many units you guys can handle or are able to obtain for your programs. Central database for the app catalog. I think that speaks for itself. It's been extremely helpful for us to maintain that for the programs, and it gives them quick access anytime to know what apps they have, and any new apps that are purchased are dumped into that catalog and are there for whatever loans they need, anybody that needs to loan it. Easy inventory control allows you to know what's out in the field at any given time, and also what's available here for loaning. So at any given point, you can reach out to us and say what's available, or you should already know what's available because you're getting reports that indicate what's issued and what's not. Warehousing, again, in a central location. I know for some of our programs, some of the devices are with other partners across the state. And this allows you the potential of having all of that into one location. Just again, it helps to maintain and keep track of where everything's at. Our turnaround time, again, I don't know how fast you guys are out in the field. I'm sure you're very fast. One of the things that we're very proud of is the fact that we can turn these devices within 24 hours. So it really helps get these devices out into the field quickly for those individuals who need to use and loan the devices. Ensuring the customer's privacy, information security, again, with all of the processes that I mentioned earlier about going in and resetting these devices and making sure that they're 100% wiped clear of all previous clients' information is very, very important. And again, we do this for thousands of devices. So this is a very important step of what we focus on, as we know privacy is a big, big issue. And then, of course, again, with the situation we're in, keeping these devices clean, sterile, decontaminated. This is a loaner program, so these devices are being touched by multiple people all the time. This is a very, very important subject for us. It's something that I think is also very important to everybody else. So, yeah, that's a very, very, very big topic. The next slide, and we're almost done here with the loaner program. So, just to give you an idea of some of the programs we currently work with, we've mentioned them a few times now, but the telecommunications equipment programs across the country, we work with probably about almost 30 of them now. National Deaf-Blind equipment programs, we're a vendor for that. We provide all sorts of different stuff, laptops, braille units, etc., etc. Specialty equipment procurement, one of our specialty is being able to work with the AT programs. They'll shoot us an email and say we're looking for A, B, and C. We'll go out and see if we can find it for them and give them a quote for it so that they can obtain it. Specialty equipment repairs, because we're a service center, so we repair a lot of different devices here. New and emerging technology blasts, this is something new we've just started within the last year that a lot of our programs are starting to really enjoy. Anytime there's new equipment that we're aware of or something like that, we'll shoot an e-blast out just to make sure you're aware of it. A lot of times you are already. We've had a website called iAccessibility for a few years now. It was specifically set up for our TEDP programs, and we are now expanding it to include other technologies, new technologies, training videos, etc., etc. It was very focused on telecommunications before, but now we're expanding that into other departments as well. And then, of course, our smart home solution is our newest thing that we're expanding into. We've been working on this for a couple of years, and it's now just starting to get to the point where we're really starting to get some traction with this. And this is why Danny is going to join us here in a second, and just give you a quick overview of what exactly the smart home solution is that we have, or solutions. And again, once he's gone through his presentation, any types of questions and stuff that you might have, please just reach out to us. We're here to help you. I did notice that there were several comments about what the costs are and stuff. The costs all depend on what devices you're looking for. So if you, something I can send to you very, very easily as far as the lending library, just shoot me a quick email, let me know what it is you're looking for, and I can get you a cost probably within 5 minutes. All right, let me just see if I can get myself back in here real quick. Okay, anyway, thanks very much for listening to me about the lending library. Danny's on screen here, so I'm going to kind of pass it off to him. And like I said, if you guys have any questions and stuff, if we have some time, I've wasted enough of my time. I'm surprised Danny hasn't been trying to knock me off the video already. But thanks again, really appreciate it. Danny, go, it's all yours.
Okay, let me go ahead and get this shared out here. All right, and I'll go ahead and do the same thing and go ahead and turn off my video, and just everybody can focus on the presentation. So I'm Danny Cunningham. I'm the Smart Home Coordinator at Teltex, and appreciate your time today to allow us the opportunity to kind of present some of our solutions to you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll make this as quick as possible to not keep you any longer than need be. I'm going to run through our smart home solutions. As Andrew just said, this is the new project that we've been working on for the last couple of years, and kind of now just getting to the point where we're finally starting to get some good traction going on that. And I'll kind of talk about that a little bit as we progress. So why Teltex Smart Home, and why smart home technology in general? So the Teltex Smart Home system is designed to empower individuals to live independently. At its core, that is our focus, and it is an independent living solution. We utilize a combination of home automation devices, environmental monitoring, and back-end support, and combine that into a powerful tool for the individual, along with their caregivers and family members. Additionally, this is a tool for connectivity and for access to essential services. It can enable an individual to connect to video telehealth services. It assists individuals in staying connected to family and friends. As Andrew had mentioned, especially a focus of ours right now in light of everything going on with the pandemic, this just further illustrates the need for this technology to keep individuals connected, empowered, and in control. And product and service tiers. So I'm going to kind of start by introducing the tiers that we have. So those of you that we might have talked to in the past in kind of the earlier days of this project might remember it a little bit differently. We started out with the full service package as kind of our core way we put this together, and we've since expanded. So this might be kind of new here. We've expanded into customizable tiers. So one thing I do want to note is when I'm talking about these tiers, these are not set packages of equipment. It's not that there are 3 set packages and that's all that there is. Excuse me. The thing with the tiers is that is the way we have kind of sectioned it out, and underneath each tier of service, there are still a 1,000 different ways we can customize it. So all of it is still customized to the needs of the individual. The first tier is going to be kind of at the base level. It's going to be a device and or sensor package. And I'll go through the components in just a moment here and explain what those different components look like. The device and or sensor package, so either a package of home automation devices and a control device like an iPad or a smart speaker, or a sensor package, and this will be on the sensor and monitoring side. So this will be for monitoring for events like water overflow or the door being opened or closed, different things like that. At the second tier, we take that same approach to building a device and or sensor package, but then this is where we start to add in some of the back-end support. So here we have some limited network monitoring and support, start to have more in the way of tools to provide ongoing tech support and monitor the hardware to ensure that everything is working. And one thing I do want to go ahead and take a moment to make sure I point out and differentiate is when I talk about monitoring, we have a couple different ways we talk about it, so I'm always careful to differentiate. Monitoring in regards to what Teltex is doing on the back end is purely just hardware monitoring. So we're talking about the network to make sure that the network is live and operating, that there is strong, secure, reliable Wi-Fi to power the environment. And we'll talk more about that in the full service package coming up here. Monitoring, when it comes around to the monitoring and sensor side of what we do, those are monitoring tools for individuals and their care teams, equips them with the tools they need. But I'm always careful to just kind of explain that part. We're very aware of privacy, and Teltex is never going to monitor events in your house or anything like that. We're purely just on the back end to make sure that this is a reliable hardware solution. So in that full service package that I just mentioned, we have device and sensor packages. This is where we kind of bring in the full back end of the system. We have a master control hub with full hardware monitoring, also a tech support, warranty, and professional installation. So I'll go ahead and move into the system components here, and then we'll kind of circle back around to the tiers, because I kind of wanted to introduce everybody to the tiers up front, but that'll all make a little bit more sense once we talk about the components of the system. So the first of the components is going to be those home automation devices and the control devices. So two different kind of sides here, both relating to controlling devices within the home. So we have the home automation devices, which of course many of you are familiar with. This is going to be the different door locks, doorbell cameras, TV control to turn TV on and off, control channels and so on, lighting, smoke, carbon monoxide, outlets, connected appliances, all kinds of different things. There's many, many options when it comes to the home automation devices. And then the other part is going to be the control devices. So this is going to be what a user would use to interface with their smart home. Either a tablet, such as an iPad, smartphones, an iPhone, a Samsung Galaxy, the Google Pixel line. This is, of course, not an exhaustive list. There's lots of different options out there. These are kind of just the biggest names out there, the ones we work with most. Also smart speakers. So while you can use the voice control features through a tablet or a smartphone, having a dedicated speaker can be very beneficial. So a HomePod, if you're using the Siri system, or the Google Home, harnessing the Google Assistant, or of course the Amazon Echo with Alexa. So these are all the kind of different ways to interface with the smart home. Some of this can also be automated as well. So as course is called home automation. So you can always manually control things, but a lot of times you can set up different events or different chains of events so that once you arrive home, the lights come on automatically and different functions happen without you having to do anything at all. Also, with using devices like an iPad or an iPhone to control, you of course have accessibility tools. So you can use the built-in accessibility features such as VoiceOver or switch control on your iPad or iPhone, or their Android equivalents as well on the Android side, and use those to interact with the smart home as well. So the sensor network and monitoring system. So while the home automation devices are going to be focused on controlling your environment, the monitoring system is going to be focused on monitoring it. And this again is where I was kind of going back and saying that Teltex is not monitoring events of the home like what we're talking about here. We're just monitoring things on the hardware side to make sure that it's online and operational. So if the whole system drops offline or a certain device does, we can get a notification. If we're doing that network and device monitoring, we can get a notification, and sometimes before the individual themselves might realize that something's gone offline, we've already got a notification and can figure out what's caused that to happen. So what this is going to do is this sensor monitoring network is going to equip caregivers, family members, independent living facilities, anybody like that with the tools to assist someone in living independently. It's going to monitor for events, and it can just be an event like a water overflow, or it can monitor for almost kind of behaviors. So you can set specific notifications that if a door is opened at a time when it normally wouldn't be, that you might get a notification only if the door is open between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m., because that would be unusual for that individual. There's easy to set notifications through a custom web portal. So everyone who is set up with this sensor network and monitoring system will have a easy to use web portal that they can access to set up their alerts. So the individual can set up their own alerts, and then anybody they choose to share that with, caregivers, family members, they can share out access to that web portal, and everybody can set up their own alerts. So you can, if this is installed in my home, I might have it alert me by a automated phone call every time the water overflows from the tub. And then a caregiver can have a different set of alerts set up. These alerts can be text messages, email, or automated phone calls. There's different ways you can set that up. And again, it can be either just general that anytime one of the sensors go off, you want to get notification, or you can get very specific that it's just certain times of the day or certain conditions. Some of the other common sensor options, temperature, I mentioned water overflow already, motion, usage of medical equipment, and the door being opened or closed. Those are kind of some of our most common ones, but there are a lot of different options for different sensors that we can equip in the home. These are all just small wireless sensors, so most of the time they can just be hidden away discreetly. It's not, there's nothing to hook up or hardwire or anything like that, so they're very easy to incorporate into the home. And they will just monitor 24/7 for these events, and then trigger the notifications if something happens, like that door being opened or closed at the time you set the notification to go off for. We have a good video about this if you have time and want to check out on our website, teltex.com/smart home, or you can just go to the teltex.com main page and click on the smart home section. And we've got a fun little video we put together there where we actually kind of display, we went in and filmed in a house displaying the different events like the water overflowing in the tub and triggering that alert, a gentleman falling asleep on the couch and not using his CPAP machine by the time he normally would be. So it triggers an alert to his caregiver to give him a reminder that he needs to go to bed and get the CPAP plugged up. So lots of different options of what you can do with that system. It's a very, very powerful tool. So getting into the back end support. Now this is going to be in that at that full service tier. First, I want to talk about the Master Control Hub. So this is a custom appliance that Teltex has built. It contains a series of different hardware, and it's all to equip the home on the back end to drive the smart home system and the sensor and monitoring system. So one of the main components of it will be enterprise grade networking hardware. This is going to create strong, secure, reliable Wi-Fi. The goal of this is this combats several elements of the system we have built to combat common issues when it comes to smart home systems. So one of the things we always say is just plopping a door lock in an automated door lock in someone's home does not make that a reliable, accessible solution. So it's taking this and building out that package and turning this into a reliable, full solution for someone. And the Wi-Fi is the perfect example. Common home routers that you got either through your internet company that they just gave you as part of your setup, or that you got through Walmart or Best Buy. They work fine for the most part, but they are not built to be super reliable, not built to be extremely secure. So what we are rolling on the back end is enterprise grade networking hardware, the same that you would find in large companies or convention centers. It's stronger as far as the reception goes. It's much more secure. The security layers are much more robust. And it's much more reliable overall as far as the uptime and ensuring that the network is going to be there to drive the system. And the next is a Mac Mini support server. So the support server is going to offer not only remote diagnostics and troubleshooting, but also a lot of advanced customizations along with future upgrade and expansion options. So that kind of brings the power of a full computer into the system to enable a lot of different things, ranging from the troubleshooting side to if we needed to fully reset an iPad or something like that as part of the system, if something significant went wrong with it, all the way to kind of those future upgrade options and incorporating with different other systems and devices that might be out there. So it gives us a lot of flexibility. The sensor hub. So the sensor hub is what's going to, all of those little wireless sensors that I was just talking about in the sensor and monitoring system, that is what is going to, they're going to relay back to is the sensor hub, and it's part of this master control hub. Now, at the lower tiers, if somebody was just doing a sensor package without doing the full service tier, the sensor hub would be part of that. So it'd be separate from the master control hub. But at this full service tier, when we're doing the full package, that would actually be incorporated into this master control box. So one of the common questions, I'll just kind of back up a step here. One of the common questions we get asked about the sensor monitoring system is, are those wireless sensors Bluetooth or Wi-Fi? They're actually neither one. They're a radio frequency signal that communicates back to that sensor hub. And then the sensor hub is what brings it online into the rest of the system so that you can use that web portal to set up your custom alerts. And we have other advanced customizations we can do at this full service tier as well. Some of those options include internet backup through cellular. If somebody was in a more rural area and experienced frequent internet outages and was concerned about having reliable internet, then we can do a cellular backup option. So also power backup, if somebody, again, has frequent power outages and wants to make sure that the system stays online no matter what. That's just another of the kind of advanced customization options that we have as available add-ons to the system. So going back around to the tiers of, or sorry, I skipped a step there. So along that back-end support, in addition to the master control hub, we also have warranty, installation, and tech support included. At this full service tier, it includes 3 years of warranty and licensing. So all of the devices in the system will be covered under warranty. There's licensing attached to some of the systems, such as the sensor monitoring system. So all of that's included for a period of 3 years. 3 years of tech support. So by having all of that back-end network and monitoring hardware, having the iPad enrolled in DEP and the MDM server, this enables a robust level of tech support and remote support capability. So all somebody has to do is contact us and we can combat any kind of issues with the system. And as I was mentioning earlier, a lot of the systems are set up automated. So if something drops offline, we get instant notification of it. So round the clock, the automated side of it is kind of watching for everything to be online and be reliable. Professional installation, so included at this full service tier, we take care of everything start to finish. It includes professional installation of the entire system, so it's all up and running in the home, all configured together. And for the user, we have free online training resources, so somebody can kind of at their own pace as the system can do a lot, and to make it to where it's not overwhelming. We have different training videos we're developing so that a user can watch a video or have some other training resources for everything from the more basic controls, such as launching the home app in their iPad and turning lights on and off, to controlling the different devices in the home through the iPad, all the way up to programming maybe some of the more advanced customizations. So going in and setting up some of the different automations, setting up those different components of the sensor and monitoring system, setting up your alerts through the web portal. So we'll kind of cover all of that through different training resources, so somebody will have time to go through and familiarize with the system and become comfortable with the different elements of it. All of this is built to be very cohesive and very easy to use, especially when we're at this full service tier. The idea is to make sure basically everything works at the end of the day, that a user doesn't have to be caught up in the details of making everything cooperate together and making sure it's secure and reliable. That's what we're taking care of. And one last thing I'll mention here is there's no monthly or continued cost. Everything's covered for that 3-year period in there. And then there are renewal options beyond that for the warranty and licensing and support. So circling back around to the tiers. So now, as I said, it makes a little bit more sense after knowing the different components of the system. So again, at that lowest level, we have the device and or sensor package. So at the lower tier, Teltex is serving more as for recommendations and kind of as a purchasing resource. We can order virtually anything out there. So we specialize in working with programs, as Andrew was mentioning. That's what we've done for many, many years. So it can be as simple as we have some programs that just send over a list of equipment to order, just kind of one-off, somebody putting together a small package of some home automation devices like an Echo and some lighting, just to kind of get started in smart home. And the program can send that over. We can put together a quick quote, and all we need is a PO, and we can go ahead and get that ordered and sent out. At the middle tier, this is where we kind of start to add in the limited backend, the network monitoring and support. So this is where Teltex starts to take a more active role. This is where we can do more in the way of troubleshooting network or device issues, see if a device dropped offline and seems to not be operating. Also, we have remote management tools if as part of the package we were doing, say, an iPad enrolled in the MDM system. That way we can do some remote management and support and help with different issues that arise with the iPad. Then at the full service tier, so that full service package, including all of the different components that I just went over there. So that's where Teltex is really taking care of everything from that initial installation all the way through to the back end and all the tech support and warranty and so on. And part of the idea with the different tiers and expanding into that is to cover a wider range of funding sources. So starting out at that lowest device and or sensor package tier, if somebody just has a small amount of funding through a waiver or MFP or something like that, and wants to just get started with that small package of devices, that we can accommodate that and work with that to find some devices for that individual, all the way up to that larger service, full service package. So the kind of expanding a little bit more, that full service package, as I said, that was kind of what we originally started with, and that's where we still believe everything is moving towards. That is a comprehensive solution that takes care of everything from start to finish. It takes all of the different kind of scattered home automation and monitoring and different devices that are out there on the market and crafts this into a secure, reliable, monitored, easy to use system. We basically take care of all of those details and make this into a true tool that somebody can use and rely upon. And to kind of bring it to a close here, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but just wanted to share a bit about kind of where we are currently today and programs and projects that we are working with and projects we're working on. So to kind of go through the list here, we have demo installs in multiple state AT offices. So these are just kind of self-contained demo systems that are fully live and operational, so somebody can run through and kind of get familiarized with the system and how it works, and be able to try everything out in real time. We're currently partnering with 2 AT programs to develop small pilot programs. And then in another state, we're actually working with Apple on a proposal to launch a statewide smart home study. So starting to really see some traction in this. Things have evolved quite a bit over the last couple of years that we've been working on this. Just to provide a little bit more info. So the pilot programs we're doing are very exciting. We're very appreciative to be working with a couple of great AT program partners. The pilot program is aimed at providing a tangible use case and justification for the increased funding to cover the smart home system, particularly the full service smart home system. So while existing waiver programs and other funding sources can cover the lower tiers, honestly, the challenge from the beginning, we knew this going in, was going to be finding the funding for the full service tier, for that full complete package. We're now starting to see some of the government funding entities kind of catch up and start to realize the benefits of such a system. One thing I haven't talked about yet that kind of illustrates this as well is a lot of this technology and system crosses into elder care as well, and helping individuals to remain in their homes longer. And this has been the focus of some of our recent partnerships. So kind of using this side as an example, sorry, my screen just skipped around there. Kind of using that side as an example when it comes to funding, there has been a lot of focus recently at both the state and federal government level seeking to reduce long-term care costs. So looking at and comparing to studies on long-term care costs in the US, the full service smart home package that we offer can pay for itself within the first 1 to 4 months on average, by enabling an individual to remain in their home for longer. So I say this because it's not only that this is an extremely beneficial technology for the individual, and this is truly where everything is moving towards and is definitely the best for the individual, but it's also highly cost effective as well. So let's see, make sure I didn't skip over anything here. So that's all I have for you today. I really appreciate your time. I would love the opportunity to connect with you and learn more about your program, about your state and your clients, and kind of see how we can partner with you to work with you on a pilot program and taking this to the next level. This is essential technology, and we want to partner together to seek the funding to bring this into homes of the individuals who need this. And I put the email up here of smarthome@teltex.com. You can also email me at Danny, D-A-N-N-Y, @teltex.com. The smart home email reaches myself, but also our core smart home team. So I always give that one out just because we have some other individuals on our team also watching out just to make sure I don't miss anything. And right now I am working remotely, but I would love to set up a call or a video chat with you. So I only say that because I did list our phone number there, but we do have staff in the office. I'm just not in the office myself. But if you would email me, I would love to hear from you, love to set up to kind of learn more about your program and how we might be able to partner together. So thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for your time. And I will go ahead and yield back to Marty and the AT3 team.
Yeah, thanks a lot. There were a couple of questions that I think you were answering in the chat, and that Amy was monitoring. Did you see any questions that weren't answered, Amy?
No, I think there were specific questions about where are your installers, how much does it cost. I would just encourage everybody to reach out directly to Andrew and Danny. And just a reminder, you'll be receiving a follow-up evaluation, and if you would kindly just complete the very short survey, and especially AT3 wants to know of other ideas for our webinars. So thank you to our presenters, and thank you all for joining today. Stay safe.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot, Andrew and Danny, both of you. Hope that's been helpful.